Welcome you inside the Cintas Center in Cincinnati, the home of the Musketeers of Xavier, and for the second time in less than a month, they play host, or they lock horns, I should say, with the Friars of Providence. Last night, Creighton and Villanova both picked up victories, so they remain in a dead heat at 9-1. So the battle right now for third place in the Big East, Providence at 6-4, Xavier coming in at 5-4. Hi, everybody. Along with former UConn and NBA star Donnie Marshall, I'm Mike Gleason. It's always great to have you with us. And Donnie, the next couple of weeks, the words March Madness, bubble teams will become more and more prevalent. And right now, you look at Xavier, they're number 36 in the RPI, and Providence is 37.
Yeah, I like to say today it's bubbly in here because both teams understand it's not always a great word this time of year, but you understand exactly what it is if you're Providence on the road and you're Xavier getting ready to go on the road. This is a big game for both teams.
And from an entertainment factor, we have two of the best guards in the Big East, if not the country.
Two of the top 5 scorers in the Big East. I mean, Bryce Cotton, you have to understand, I say he's the alpha and omega. It begins and ends with him. He is going to get to the basket hard. They're going to set a lot of screens for him, and basically only him. If you give him too much space, he will make you pay from downtown. He doesn't abandon his teammates, also leaving the Big East in assists. We'll talk about that later. On the other side, Semaj Christon understands who he is. He's worked hard on that jump shot, but he wants to get out in transition. I call him a straight line guy, Mike. He wants to get straight to that basket.
Well, Donnie, a lot of productivity as far as the starting 5 goes for Providence. Not that deep, but you look at Cotton, Batts, Henton, and Harris, all averaging in double figures. 91% of their offense comes from the starters. And for the Musketeers of Xavier, joining Semaj Christon, D. Davis, number 2 in the Big East in assists. Stainbrook, number 2 in rebounding. Eric Stenger, the effort man, gets the start today instead of Isaiah Fillmore. We are ready to go. The official, Tim Clockerty, Wally Ratecki, and Evan Burrows, and the opening tip is controlled by the Friars of Providence.
Be interesting. You see the matchup in front of you. Christon, Cotton, the length of Semaj. See if it can disrupt Cotton, and already a turnover by Hinton early. That's not how you want to start a game on the road, especially in this building.
Hinton having a big game back on January 25th against Xavier. 25 points, 11 rebounds. In practice yesterday, the coaching staff for Xavier thought that they were punked. They weren't tough enough playing against Hinton. Christian off the dribble. Baseline jumper doesn't go. Stenger almost kept it alive, and it's taken down by the smallest guy on the floor. And probably the best story in college basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. Battling illness and now back. This crowd loves him. He really is the energy guy for Xavier.
This is Cotton. A little inside, outside, back outside, and this one rattles down for a 3 for Fortune. That's his 30th this year.
Supporting cast, that's going to be important for both Christon and Cotton. Who can step up on their team and help them really alleviate some of that pressure scoring-wise?
That's a great point, because consistently they get it from Hinton and Cotton. They say either Batts or Harris has to step up. And as you pointed out, Fortune with the 3 getting things going. Second opportunity, Martin pulls the trigger, and that is good from 2.
Yeah, and on the other side, obviously, for Xavier, Martin is a guy averaging about 14, 15 points a game in conference. A lot of pressure on him to play the right way. Sometimes decision-making not the best, but he plays with a ton of energy and can stretch the defense out.
Speaking of averages, right now, Cotton in conference play averaging just a hair under 24. Doug McDermott's at 25 after scoring 39 again last night, and Batts gets off to a good start.
Yeah, Batts, what do? You go to your veterans. You let them also help with the load on the road. It's good to see the big fella get it going early. He's going to have his work cut out defensively.
Well, it's 5-2 early, and yesterday in practice, Chris Mack really emphasized defense.
So you talk about a team that's tops in passing in the conference, in field goal percentage and rebounding. Why are they losing? Defense.
Nice move, drop step, left hand, and Stainbrook gets his first bucket.
He's a load. Doesn't use it with athleticism, but he knows how to carve you out and get to the right spot. He keeps the game so simple.
Very good passing, big man. Good IQ. And some of the words yesterday used by Chris Mack was nose to nose. Be a man. Don't let these guys think there's a free pass down the lane. And you notice Semaj Christon picking up Cotton. They're hoping that his length helps him defend a little bit. Before it was D. Davis down to 3. Doesn't touch the rim, and the loose ball comes out. Here come the Musketeers.
And this is what they want to do. Look at that, Christon. Maybe in a couple seasons, he'll be able to get away with that extra step. But you see exactly, Chris Mack's okay with that because they pushed the ball. They came out, one and done, cleaned up the glass. But that's what Christon wants to do. When I say straight line, Mike, I mean he's not going to play around, go between his legs, behind his back. He's trying to make a straight line as possible from where he is to the front of the rim.
You know, Donnie, you saw Coach Cooley there. Bryce Cotton was telling me at practice last night that and Cooley recognized that he could be a scorer. He wasn't shooting enough in practice. He said, Coach, I'm not open. I was traveling on this end. He said, if you don't shoot the ball, your teammates are going to run. And all of a sudden, he started shooting the ball.
Yeah. I mean, what more do you need? You know, and especially a kid who's come so far. He averaged 4 points his first year, 14, a little more his next. Last year, just over 19. I mean, the progression. Maybe he has to continue to keep hearing, shoot the ball, shoot the ball.
Can you imagine your teammates running sprints because you're not shooting enough?
Shoot the darn ball. Right. I know if it was my teammate, I'd say, hey, I'll shoot the ball. Exactly. You don't want to.
Fillmore. Down to 8 on the shot clock now for the Musketeers. Martin off the dribble. It's rejected. And the foul is going to be called on Batts. In that first meeting on January 25th, Providence had 10 blocks against the X-Men.
And Providence just does it with, obviously, Harris's length, Batts' length. Well, Fortune has some long arms. You know, they use their athleticism. You might not look across and say there are shot blockers out there, but you can say one thing. They have athletes, Providence.
And Donnie, I stand corrected. Harris got picked up that foul. It wasn't Batts. Now, some of those great UConn teams that you played for obviously had a little bit more depth. But, I mean, Ed Cooley getting 91% of his offense from the starters. So let's say a Batts or a Harris, God forbid, a Cotton gets into foul trouble. What are you going to do?
You're going to have to rely on pieces that are unknown. You just don't know what guys are going to give you coming in off that bench. But that means you put more pressure on the starters to play smart.
Fillmore is rejected by DeRozier. No, they're going to call another foul on Providence. DeRozier had 6 rejections in that first meeting in January.
And we were talking about it, trying to stay on the floor, shot blockers. Here's the inbound. Must have got him a little low. Got to tell those officials, this is the Big East. We got to let them play a little bit.
This is the new Big East. Fillmore didn't get the start, but gets his first point. Hasn't been in double figures in 4 games, but doing other things to help out. And James Farr coming in. He was a crowd favorite early in the season. Very good numbers, but Chris Mack saying that some of his numbers or minutes have diminished a little because of play on the defensive end.
Well, I think his entire team can be guilty of that. You know, it's tough to put it on one guy that, you know, comes in the game sparingly, doesn't play a ton of minutes. But I understand what Coach Mack is saying. He's telling him, look, step up your play defensively because maybe it will start with you and guys will follow suit.
6-5 Xavier has their first lead of the afternoon. Hinton. DeRozier. Doesn't go down for the Wake Forest transfer, and Fillmore clears. Donnie, Chris Mack was saying as a team their confidence has waned a little bit during this 3-game skid, but D. Davis hasn't been shooting the ball as well, and it's affecting his play on both sides.
Well, you don't have to worry how far getting in the game and shooting it. I don't really care for that shot, especially I know the young fella, he shoots the ball well from there, but get yourself up and down the floor a few times before you pull that long 3-pointer out.
In transition. Won't go down for Martin. You talk about the minutes that Cotton plays. I mean, in conference plays over 40, 41.8. And Chris Mack was so complimentary of Cooley during the game itself, within the game, giving him breathers by slowing things down on the offense. Right now it's 6-5. Xavier on top here in Cincinnati. let's take a look at some of the stories. Doug McDermott, before the season even started, everyone thought that he was a shoo-in for Player of the Year. But how about St. John's playing some pretty good basketball?
Yeah, they really are. They get after you. You understand Lavin wants them going hard at guys in a Beckba. What else can you say about him as an enforcer and a stopper on defense?
And Georgetown knocking off Butler earlier this afternoon. So Georgetown trying to right the ship and pick up some steam, as these two teams are.
And Georgetown waiting. Providence will be there to play them on Monday.
He was a former player. Maybe you can shed some light. I was saying that Chris Mack was so complimentary of Coach Cooley as far as slowing the game down, giving Cotton a chance to catch his breath within the game.
Yeah, well, he understands that the kid gets 30 seconds of rest on average in games. You have to, because you understand how important he is to your team. And there's another turnover for Providence. But Cooley understands, you know, if you're going to tell your star shoot the ball, you understand how much comes with that running off of screens and the exhaustion level that can happen. So you do. You slow the game down. You don't want to get frantic, because you understand as Cotton goes most nights, this team goes.
I asked Cotton last night if he ever gets tired. I mean, 41.8 minutes a game. And he said, if I did, you wouldn't know it, because my body language, I wouldn't show it. Kind of like Jim Brown, always got up the same time after every tackle. He didn't want the opposition to know if he was tired or hurt.
That's a great answer. Most kids would say no, and you know they're not telling the truth. As D. Davis, there's the X factor, I think, for Xavier. Got to get to the basket.
Big bucket for Davis, too. He's been struggling from the floor. Harris looking inside. Bats. Down on the baseline. A little bit too strong, and Fillmore clears again. Davis looking for Semaj on the baseline. Nice thought. Didn't quite pull it off execution-wise. Cotton coming off a 32-point game against St. John's, his fourth 30-point contest in his career. Well, it's amazing how he leads the Big East in scoring. Now he leads in assists. Inside 10 on the shot clock now, down to 7 for Bats.
Well, Cotton's going to have to be a little bit more aggressive. He can't wait till that shot clock is running down. And
Davis misfires. Harris clears. Rejected by Martin. Harris comes right back with a left hand. It doesn't go down. Over 5 minutes without a field goal now for the Friars, and Semaj Christon gets the bucket.
And you see exactly, and great job by our guys in the truck, because that was one of the highlights we showed off of the top. Christon out in transition, almost the exact play, and that's what he likes to do. And Xavier knows D. Davis, Farr, whoever it is, they get that ball up quick and they let him go to work in transition.
Musketeers on an 8-0 run. Down to 7 on the shot clock for Cotton and company. Inside, Bats with the left hand, too strong. Down to 2, and it rolls off the rim again for Hinton. Right now, the X-Men showing some effort. Type of effort Mac wanted. There's an N1. Finally, the Friars have missed their last 10 field goals. They finally to get it to go down.
Boy, I tell you, Providence, they keep coming at you. But Xavier, they got the message from their head coach. You got to defend. Your defense will turn into offense.
10-7. Xavier on top by 3. 11:31 to go. And well, Providence coming in struggling with the shot. And Chris Mack getting some depth. Here's Jalen Reynolds, the big 6'9" freshman out of Detroit. He had to take care of some responsibilities, so he was suspended from the team indefinitely, but it lasted 2 games. The last time he played for the X-Men was against Providence. He had 8 minutes. He was 3 for 6, 6 points and 4 rebounds. And that's just getting another body out there. A big body like that is a big plus.
Yeah, especially when you look around the country. Arizona, Syracuse, even Providence here, they rely so much on their starters. So if you can get a guy like Reynolds or Xavier, it just adds to that depth like you mentioned, but it also gets a kid back in who understands now what it's like to be away from your team. He should play hungry.
Good point. They say he has a lot of upside.
Yeah.
Suffering through some freshman mistakes, rookie mistakes, but by the time he's a junior, senior, he could be a stud. Good recovery by Stainbrook. Davis needed that one, but they're not going to count it.
Spacing right now for Xavier, it's a little cluttered. Guys are too close, and you know, as much as you want to give credit to the Providence defense, I think Xavier is right now, they're feeling it. 10-8. They understand Providence was struggling. First bucket in 6.5 minutes, and they're trying to get themselves going, but you got to keep your space.
Down 2, and Cotton has yet to score. Wow. Kind of willed that one in. Harris, the North Carolina State transfer, gets his first bucket. This is Stainbrook. Steps outside, rolls out, and Fortune pulls down the rebound.
And Providence will take that shot 14 feet away from the basket, get a hand up contested, takes their best rebounder, one of the best in the Big East, away from the basket.
Harris. Christon trying to put that pressure on in transition again. And he's bumped by Fortune.
Tell you, he doesn't fool around with the ball, Mike. He puts that head down, and he's not the strongest guard out there, but he just understands that's half the battle. If you know who you are and you stick with that, that's exactly what Semaj Christon does here. Kind of a nice little inside-out crossover there, but he puts the shoulder down. You have to get in his way.
Well, he's really stepped up last year. He had to hunt for shots. I mean, you look at Chris Mack, 17 wins last year. They don't go to the NCAA tournament, but one kid transfers, 2 freshmen are academically ineligible, and 1 player gets kicked out of school, basically, and Christon had to put the whole team on his shoulders, and he's done such a good job. When you look at his numbers, Donnie, that he has adjusted his game so well. He's not out there hunting for shots, but yet he's still scoring over 20 points a game in conference play.
And he'll knock down shots, and that's a new part of his game. Late in the shot clock, when the team needs it, even step back to 3 a little bit. And this just a little flex offense. You pass it, set a down screen, next guy comes up, but that ball's getting into Cotton's hand at the end of any play.
Davis chasing Cotton. Cotton high out the window. Beautiful shot.
6'1", but he plays, I say, much longer than that. He really stretches you out. He knows how to create a little extra space with that quickness.
That was the first bucket for Cotton. He had 25 and 7 assists back on January 25th. There's another whistle away from the ball. Harris picks up his second foul. So Tyler Harris.
Game-winning dunk last night against
That's
OKC.
right.
I mean, that was terrific at the buzzer. When do you see that?
Stainbrook. The skip pass over to Miles Davis, and he kisses it off the window.
Yeah, that's going to be a big part of his game, not just being a long-range shooter, but getting into that area. You see more and more coming back. I used to call that a lost art, that mid-range jump shot. See a lot more guys going to that. I think the coaches are teaching it more. It's not going to make any highlight reel on television, but the coaches, if you're watching it when you're sitting in there watching tape and they show it, it's a good thing.
It was a lost art, really.
Right.
And those players that can stop and pull up from above 13 or 14 feet. 8 on the shot clock now for Cotton. It's a crossover and a reaching foul by D. Davis.
And here's what we're talking about. When you can shoot threes, He didn't even have to pump fake. He saw the defender running at him. Look at that. Soft, off the glass. That's a good shot. Shoulder square. You know, growing up, a lot of coaches say don't fade, don't lean, and that's changed over time too. If your shoulders are square to the basket, either fading away or leaning in, it's not a terrible shot.
Well, Donnie, he had a 4-game stretch late December. He was 13 of 22 from long range. That's 59%. The last 3 games shooting 25% from long range. So work on that mid-range shot, build up your confidence, and then maybe move back out.
Listen, if you're tagged as a shooter, you have the most power, I believe, on the floor, more than a ball handler or a center, because they always have to know where you are at all times. And remember, one of my teammates in college, Ray Allen, that's why I know that from experience.
He wasn't too shabby, huh?
No, still hanging in there a little bit, too.
Jalen Reynolds just picks up a foul inside 8 minutes, so we're going to step away from the Cintas Center. Chris Max, Musketeers up by 2. .7:58 to go, 14-12, and Donnie, when it comes to Bryce Cotton, it doesn't matter if there's 1, 2, or 3 guys chasing him. He finds ways to score.
Yeah, he's off to a slow start, but take a look at him, top of your screen there. He's going to work his way up into here, and then they do exactly what they've been doing. They're going to clear him by setting a pick, and he will come off of it. Look at him work at it. Surveying, waiting for the big man to set a pick. Mismatch on another big, and just a high, soft layup off the glass. That'll get you a letter and horse any day of the week.
Look at his minutes. 13 times he's played at least 40 minutes. Remember, folks, there's 40 minutes in a basketball game. Twice he's played 50. He's played every minute of the Big East season so far.
You get into those overtime games and you see a guy playing every single minute. It's incredible. Tells you about his stamina.
Henton gets his first field goal. He's got 3. Rick Carter, the assistant coach, going through the scouting report, called him a junkyard dog. And then we talked to Ed Cooley, and within the first 10 seconds, he called him a junkyard dog. It's a great compliment, I guess, if you're a basketball player. Down on the baseline, it's going to stay down on this end. Last touch by the Friars.
Well, LaDontae Hinton is Bryce Cotton's running mate, and again, another guy averaging about 14 points a game that needs to come in on the road, put a little bit more pressure on himself to put that ball in the basket, but play the right way. You know, use your teammates. There's no hero basketball. It's not going to get you far, but be there for your teammates when they need you.
You said on the road. That's the operative phrase. Coach Cooley was talking about that. You know, can you maintain your focus? Can you stay injury-free? Can you stay away from the flu bug? There's so many things that go into it. As Stainbrook gets inside for a flush, he's got 4.
Stainbrook knows how to get you on that box, and as soon as you play over the top, he seals you up. He'll step you towards half court. It opens up the entire baseline for him.
Stainbrook coming off a double. Back-to-back double-doubles, actually. This is Bancroft just in recently, and little runner doesn't go, and the whistle on the foul down on the baseline going against him.
And take a look at Stainbrook. Look where he is. Look where he's posted up. He's got this entire area to seal you, but so much importance is placed on the pass. The good angle there by Davis. Weak side help comes late, and Stainbrook knows how to finish.
Last foul went against Isaiah Fillmore. Talk about double-doubles, Tom, as far as Stainbrook's concerned, but maybe his most impressive game was when he had 6 assists. He's such a good passer for a post player. Fortune pulls the trigger, deep, it rolls out. Another whistle on the baseline. This one goes against D. Davis.
Bryce Cotton, you got to know where he is at all times. So what happens is, you know, 1, 2 guys paying attention to him. Guys like Fortune will get open shots. Now it's up to you to knock those shots down.
Davis goes to the bench with his second foul with 6:34 to go here in the half. Defense and stupid fouls hurting this Xavier team during the 3-game skid. Harris, the southpaw, a little bit too strong again. Top of the backboard.
Yeah, that's a tough one there. Isaiah Fillmore thought he did a pretty good job boxing out. Yeah, that's the second one, and all that is their timing plays, basically. A guy jumps in the air, then you try to step back, they're going to call it. But take a look. You know, maybe a little shove in the back, but I think that's just basketball. You got to let him play.
You mentioned boxing out. Chris Mack really stressed that yesterday. They took out the old pads. I love when they take the pads out. He said no second chance points for this team today. Kadeem Batts picks up his third point. Comes in averaging almost 8 rebounds, 8.5 in conference play, 12 points. Good free throw shooting team. Providence comes in 79%, which is #1 in the Big East.
Yeah, best in the country. I mean, if you think about when you get down to tournament time, you got to make shots from the free throw line.
There's some long-range artillery.
There he is. Set him up maybe earlier with the little floater off the glass, a little mid-range jumper.
He was listening to you.
And that's what he does best right there. You give him too much space, the young fella can knock it down.
That's his 36. He leads the team in long shots. Cotton comes back and he pulls the trigger for a 3.
When he gets those feet set, I tell you what, it looks good the entire way.
Cotton has gone from 14 threes to 77 to 98 as a junior. That's his 51st this season. Christian goes down the lane and he's fouled. He'll get 2, looking for the 3-point play, but Semaj Christon has really, you know, so many players, Donnie, who are good athletes and they just can't shoot free throws, right? First 8 games of the season, he was at 51%, but you got to take your hat off to Christon because now he's gone from 51 to 68, and over the last 14 games, he's around 74%.
Yeah, and it's between the ears at that point, because what you have to do is tell yourself, okay, just because I'm missing shots doesn't mean I'm a bad shooter, and sometimes that's the hardest thing to do is to trick yourself. I tell kids, trick yourself into thinking each time you go to the line, I'm a great shooter if you're struggling, and that's what you have to do, a lot of self-talk. A lot of positive words, especially from the free throw line.
So it's 80% mental, 75% mental.
That's right.
You see so many guys who can play the game, but they just never improve on that free throw shooting. Harris.
Oh.
No box out there.
Batts reading it. Everyone ball watching.
So suddenly Batts is up to 6. He's coming off a double-double against St. John's. Xavier trying to regain the lead now, down 1, and Stainbrook. Nice assist that time by Semaj Christon.
Tell you the vision and the composure of Christon. He got cut off, 2 guys there. He steps through, didn't panic, and found Stainbrook. What a terrific play by Semaj Christon.
Cotton's got 5, averaging just under 24 in conference play. 8 on the shot clock for Fortune. There's a stop. Banks it in.
You know what? You don't have to call it. Not in this game. Chris Mack waved it off like, come on. But, hey, Providence right now will take that. And as you look up, Providence not shooting the ball great, but this is who they are. They grind you down. They're at 29% from the field.
Little spin with the left hand, and Stainbrook is the push, and he has a chance for the 3-point play.
The step through was really what made this happen. The swing, he posts up great. That stand behind him. Nice little step through, finishing with the left hand. And you got to understand when guys are lefty or righty how to play them. But again, Stainbrook does such a good job. Got terrific footwork for a guy that size.
9 points now, 3:56 to go. 5 lead changes, 6 ties. So as advertised, it's been a good ball game up to this point.
Tell you, this offense has been around probably John Wooden. I mean, And guys, it's still tough to defend if you set screens. I mean, kids are running that. As you see the turnover there by Fortune. Just a great play, but you know, you're running that flex offense when you're in elementary school. It never gets old.
Well, we talked about getting some productivity besides the big three. Well, Fortune now with 7 in the first half, so maybe he's that guy that's going to step up for Ed Cooley here this afternoon.
He's got such a beautiful jump shot. If you can get him a steal and then a layup, it's just a bonus for you.
Cotton wants to run. Doesn't have the numbers.
Boy.
Doesn't need them.
Look at the balance. He attacks you and stops on a dime, elevates, avoiding the charge.
Another turnover in the ball game now. 2:40 to go.
Providence running. That's the follow-up on people's head, and Cotton, look at this at you, this Euro step. Stop the finish. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Thanks, Rob. All the screaming going on here. Sorry, I didn't hear you because somebody just hit a half-court shot, and it's the second straight game here at Xavier that a student, hit the half-court shot.
That's Brad Whitford. Do you remember him? Brad Redford, excuse me. Take a look. I did a game earlier. He missed, and they booed him. So that's redemption right there.
Well, I should say former student then.
That's right.
So this place erupted. Well, Ed Cooley, you look at 53 points in the first half against St. John's, so much better effort defensively here.
Oh, yeah, they're getting in passing lanes. Like we mentioned earlier, Xavier, for some reason, their spacing, it's really clogged up. And you know, you have to credit the Providence defense for some of that. They just keep you inside. They know where the ball's coming. They know where the scoring is coming from.
Heading down on the baseline. Good drive, but he traveled.
Shuffled the feet a little bit. And you see a guy like Stainbrook running at you. It makes you think twice on how you're going to go up and finish that. It's exactly what happened there to Hinton.
Talk about this Providence defense now. Xavier 1 for 6 from long range. They held Creighton to 4 threes. 4 for 19, and anybody that can do that, that's pretty good defense because Creighton can light it up from downtown. Ask Jay Wright, huh? What do they have, 21 threes against Villanova? Boy, beautiful pass, just right on the mark for Fortune. He's got 9 in the first half.
Hey, Cotton sees the floor, doesn't he? Hey, everyone talks about his scoring, but he's leading the Big East in assists as well, you know? 5-6 assists a game, and you're talking about a scorer. He does everything that you want from that point guard position.
And he never gets tired. That's his 3rd assist. Largest lead for the Friars now here in the first half, and Davis almost lost it. Christian tries to weave his way through. Martin now with 7 on the clock, and he converts.
That's one thing Xavier does very well. When their space is good, they move well without the ball, and they share the basketball. 15 assists a game, that doesn't just happen on accident.
Catch and shoot, Fortune, he's feeling it. It's a 3.
Okay, got a beautiful, beautiful stroke. You just stay available. I say that your greatest ability is your availability, and that's happening for Fortune. If you're just there, Cotton will find you.
Top of the broadcast, we said 4 of the 5 starters averaging double figures with Fortune now. He has 12, and Reynolds making a comeback with the flush.
Can you see the difference, though? The last time down for Xavier, the space was good. Martin to the basket. That time, draw a guy. Reynolds with the dunk.
Cooley calls the timeout. You're watching Fox Sports 1, your exclusive home for the entire Big East tournament. We got a good one going on right here. 41 seconds to go. 32-29, and right now Josh Fortune, the 6'5 sophomore, he has the hot hand. 12 points. He comes in averaging just under 7.
I mean, with the last name of Fortune, that's a lot of pressure. You know, you should look at that family tree and go back and say, okay, who gave us this last name? Because a kid like that, you expect him to make shots, and doing exactly that for Providence here, it's a big part of why they're up.
Ed Cooley says the only thing negative you can say about the young man is sometimes he passes up too many shots. Well, he's feeling it here this afternoon so far.
Well, I got to play for Ed Cooley. I wish I played for Ed Cooley. He's telling everyone to shoot it.
Right. Harris deep in the baseline. It's funny you say that in practice yesterday. Harris tried to take it to the rim, and Cooley said, shoot the ball. It's a good shot from. That's what he just did deep in the corner. Final 6 seconds. Christon takes it in. Doesn't go down.
It's what he does. He loves getting to that right hand. You know, the best thing to do is try to force him to the left. And Cooley is telling his guys, listen, look at that entire right side of the floor. And Harris had to stay out a little bit because you got a shooter in Martin in the corner. Got to play better on-ball defense.
Foul one against LaDante Hinton, his first. Christon knocks down his first free throw. He's got 6 points here with 5 seconds to go in the half. Stinger back in, and Steenbrook will sit for the final 5 seconds. Christon just 159 points shy of 1,000 now. Only a sophomore. Only one other Xavier player has hit 1,000 in his first 2 years. Byron Larkin wound up with over 2,600. But the question is, how long does Christon stay here in Cincinnati and play for Xavier before heading out to the NBA?
Yeah, I told Byron that before the game. I said, I think you're safe, man. Guys go, they're leaving school.
There's a steal. Martin pulls back. Doesn't go down. We played 20 minutes. Your thoughts quickly on the
Boy, almost a huge mistake there. But Providence hanging around, not shooting the ball particularly well. 42%. This is exactly what you want from your team if you're Ed Cooley on the road. You want to be in this game.
Again, we go back to the last game against St. John's. St. John's one of the hotter teams in the Big East, but they had 53 points in the first half. And right now, Xavier coming in averaging 74. They have 31. And joining us right now, Ed Cooley, the head coach of Providence. And Ed, we're just talking about the fact you gave up 53 against St. John's in the first half, holding Xavier to 31, so you have to be pleased on the defensive end at least.
Yeah, we're pleased. I mean, on a road, hostile environment, I don't think we played particularly well the way we want to play defensively. You know, Christian is getting to the foul line too much. We'll do a better job on him and Steenbrook in the second half.
Well, Coach, you guys are dominating on the glass, 18-13. Was that one of your focuses coming in to try to control that paint a little bit better?
That's always our focus. You know, we pride ourselves on trying to be a really good defensive team, so, rebounding team. If we can do that, we want to make sure we dictate the tempo. And, you know, I still want our guys to take the open shots that we're getting. I think we're getting good shots.
Ed, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. Ed Cooley, the head coach of Providence. They lead at 32-31 at the break. And coming up at halftime, it's the Fox College Hoops halftime update. Rob Stone and Austin Crozier back in the Los Angeles studio. Providence on the road, leading it by 1. He's averaging about 14. And there's a rare mistake by Cotton. Looking for fortune, and nobody was there.
Right now, Providence and Ed Cooley, they need Cotton to be aggressive, finding his own offense. You know, you love that your guard is sharing the basketball and looking for his teammates, but you're down 6 in a raucous environment. You need to get your guy going.
3 turnovers for Providence here in the second half alone already. There's Christon. Looking for a shot that time, but it won't go down. Second opportunity, third. 3 misses.
3 at point-blank range as well.
Ooh, Hinton almost traveled again. He wanted to take off. They gave him the shot, he takes it.
I don't mind that if he's 2 or 3 feet closer. I think he has confidence he can knock down that shot, but, you know, hand in your face at that range, leave those to Cotton.
Fillmore says, I can knock it down. It doesn't go. I understand what you're saying, but when someone's giving you the shot, it's so hard.
It really is.
You gotta really discipline yourself.
And big, as soon as they get away from the basket, they're like, here's my chance to show everyone I can face the basket and score.
Good help defense. Chris Mack was saying earlier this year, last season, when someone slid over and helped defense, usually it's a mismatch in size. That's not a problem this year. They've got enough bodies, big bodies. As Steenbrook slides over and gets the steal. Christon looking much more aggressive on the offensive end. Fortune rolls in another 3-ball. They went over 4 minutes without a field goal. In the first half, they went, what, 6-13 or something like that without a field goal.
Yeah, good composure there, too, by Cotton to get that ball, run it down, and find a teammate wide open in the corner.
Well, Coach Cooley's saying that Fortune passing up too many shots. He's got 15 here this afternoon. Nice little give inside, and it goes for Fillmore. Ed Cooley led by 1 at the break. Not happy so far. 6 minutes into the second half, they trail 42-37. Bryce Cotton more than likely will become the 5th player from a major conference to average 20-plus points, 5-plus assists. Pretty impressive list right there.
Are you kidding me? I read this last night, and I'm like, all I could think was, wow. You know, Nolan Smith, obviously, Tyrese Rice, but Jason Williams at Duke. You talk about one of the best college players to grace the basketball court.
Yeah, he was tough.
And now Cotton right up there with those guys. Says a lot. Says a lot.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I know Evan Turner was National Player of the Year. I think Jason Williams was National Player of the Year as well.
Yep.
Heck, he might have been a 2-time national player.
Yep. And the only thing that cut his NBA career short was a terrible motor accident. And he probably would have been talking about him as one of the, you know, the better guards to play at that level as well.
That was sad, a motorcycle accident. That's the second time now that Providence has thrown it to a phantom teammate.
But this is the problem, Mike, is you come out of a timeout and you make that play. You know, what happens a lot is kids are trying to get it back, and they're going to turn this call around. The officials, and Ed Cooley helping a little bit, right? Hey, he's a coach, he's part-time official. They're saying this was deflected by someone.
I don't know who touched it.
Wow. That was a phantom there. Coach Mack has a great argument. The pitchers are going to look at that later and regret making that call. But as far as Providence, the focus factor has to be right now the importance. Dial it back in.
The catch and shoot, a little bit too strong. The rebound chased down by the freshman Jalen Reynolds back on the floor. The X-Men, they want to run. How many times have we seen that this afternoon?
Yeah, they missed a lot of bunnies is what you call them. And they'd be up probably double that right now if they could knock those down. But
Fortune knocks it down. He's got 17.
Providence has missed a couple of those bunnies close as well inside. Fortune right now trying to get them back into it. They're just waiting for Cotton to get it heated up a little bit.
But Reynolds, the young rookie out of Detroit, calling for the ball. You like to see that.
Yeah. Get him down there, use his length. Once he gets it, just make a solid decision. You don't have to be a star down there. Just be available.
When he was suspended, that was a great point you brought up in the first half, how much he probably realized he misses being with his teammates out there. It's hard to sit.
Never realize how important it is and how great you have it until you don't have it, especially as a young player.
6 on the clock. Christon stops, pulls up. A long rebound chase. Second opportunity now. Martin puts his shoulder down. Nice touch off the window. Wow.
Good no call by the official there. And a terrific move by Justin Martin. I tell you, he's one of my favorite players in this conference because of what you just saw there.
In the first half of the season, he was more of a perimeter shooter. Cotton. Rims out. Chased out. It's going to stay with Providence. They trail by 5 with 12:45 to go.
And just take a look. Martin pulls that ball, rips it through. Again, look at the shoulders, square to the basket. Even though he was falling down, anytime you get hit, always remember to throw that ball high. And there you see the numbers. Just Terrific job, Justin Martin.
Martin and Reynolds both getting a nice round of applause for efforts by the Xavier crowd. Henton steps back, knocks down a three.
Looked like James Harden there with the step back between the legs. Nice lefty soft jumper.
Henton, the last 5 games, averaging 16 points, 8 rebounds. He just has 6 here this afternoon. It's a 2-point game. Davis has it, so he takes it. When he found out he had it, he probably rushed it a little bit. Another second opportunity. This time, there's Davis, the three-point artist, taking inside, taking your advice.
Tell you, when you're a terrific shooter, at times all you need is an eyebrow fake, and they will go for it. You'll see the catch. Look at, oh, we missed the eyebrow fake, but he gets himself to the rim. We got a game, folks. Xavier up 46-42.
$11:59 to go. Xavier by 4, 46-42. And Donnie, earlier in the broadcast, we talked about Ed Cooley gets 91% of his offensive production from the starting 5, and right now they're falling into some foul trouble. Harris just picked up his 4th foul.
I mean, look at that, 82% of their minutes from the starters. The rebound, 72, assists, 87%. So when you talk about a couple guys in foul trouble, and Harris and Bats, not only is it their bigs, that's just 2 less guys that add to the huge percentage for your starters. Where do you go?
That's a great question, because right now it's 13-0 Xavier as far as bench points. So Coach Cooley has 0 points from his bench so far.
Yeah, Bat's back in the game. He's going to have to play smart, though, with just under 12 minutes to play and 3 fouls.
Cotton gives it up to Bats. He puts his shoulder down, and he's fouled. He's going to the line. He's a 75% shooter. He was 9 for 9 against St. John's. Now, earlier we talked about the fact that they're 79%. You pointed out #1 in the country. Austin Crozier back in the LA studio. Providence player. Providence great. Once hit 57 straight free throws.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's concentration, huh?
It is, but it's also a gift as well. I mean, Austin had a great stroke. He was a terrific shooter, but I would guess probably around 30 in a row, you start to think about it a little bit.
Kind of like that no-hitter. You get to the 8th inning.
And it's all a matter of saying, make the next one, not saying, don't miss the next one. You know, it really is.
Well, your teammates say, don't look at him. Don't look at him.
Sorry, don't touch him. Well, most guys say, just keep everything the same. You know, hit me on the tail when I make one. You know, just keep it the same.
46-43. Stainbrook, there's that drop step a little bit too deep that time. Cotton 0 for 1 in the second half so far. That's what he does so well. And Donnie, really, Cotton really hasn't penetrated, because Xavier's kept him out of the lane so far for the most part. Davis misfires, but there's a second opportunity, and it's Justin Martin going into double figures.
Tell you, you know, he's their X factor. He really is, because he can do so much. He's so versatile around the basket. You mentioned it earlier in the season. He was more of an outside shooter, getting to the rim.
Cotton leaves his feet. It's rejected. Jump ball. The arrow pointing in favor of Providence, so we'll keep it down this way. We're talking about Martin. Chris Mack was saying he hasn't always had the best practice habits, and it starts in practice.
It really does. I know people joke, and it'll go down in history, the infamous Allen Iverson quote, but in college it's so different. And hitting there, knocking down the three, really waiting for him to get it going. Is Ed Cooley, but practice so important in college. It really is. It's really where you learn everything. You learn how to be a great teammate. You learn work ethic. You learn really the X's and O's of the game of basketball.
Well, they're playing off of Fillmore, aren't they? Fillmore has Wide open shots. Down to 4 now. Christon will have to create, and he does and scores.
Yeah, Bats had to back off. He knew he had 3 fouls. Couldn't get out of the way quick enough. And Semaj Christon, didn't talk about a cerebral game. He understands. Go at the big guy. Shot clock, yes, is running down, but you know that big. One more foul, and Providence is in trouble.
With that bucket, Christon moves back into double figures with 11. Cotton. Christon's length proving a problem for Cotton so far. Hinton, 5 on the shot clock. Good positioning that time by Steinberg.
Oh, great defense by Xavier there, staying in front of guys, challenging. You say we're going to let Bats hit a jump shot. It's not going to be Fortune or Cotton.
Fillmore using some strength.
And that's what happens when you're in foul trouble. You allow the guy to get low, and now it's a 3-foot hook shot for Fillmore because Bats just can't be aggressive.
Six-point lead, and matches the largest lead for Xavier here. 10 on the shot clock. Cotton somehow makes the go in.
Boy, I mean, again, he gets hit, finishes high.
Oh, how about being at the right spot there, huh?
So here's my question to you. Will Christon get the assist, or is that an offensive rebound?
Depends on who's keeping.
Well, we're at home, yeah. Maybe both, right? Offensive rebound and assist.
I guess if I was scoring, I'd give him the rebound and the stick back.
Yeah. Well, that big man's going to say, yeah, that's definitely a rebound.
Cotton off the dribble.
There's 4.
Harris with 4, Bats with 4, and there's 7:40 to go.
If you're a guard, you're saying, that's an assist. I was throwing that off the backboard. Xavier in control. That was before my time, Mike.
Not mine. I remember it very well. I grew up in the Upper Peninsula, not far from Milwaukee, about 6 hours, and got a chance to meet Al McGuire. What a great guy he was. And Bats picking up his 4th foul. That is a big replay right there because Harris has 4 as well.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Ed Cooley has to find his inner Al McGuire and figure out how he's going to get some production from guys off the bench now with Bats in serious foul trouble.
Marquette teams, remember Dean the Dream Meminger, and remember Al McGuire, somebody was complaining about playing time. He said, I'm better than your son. And he said, yeah, but you're not my son. That was a great line. There's a scramble. And nonchalantly, Christon picks up the ball. No sense getting rattled. Bench points 15-0 right now, Xavier. Scramble down to the baseline, the whistle. During the break, they changed that foul, Donnie. They're going to give it to DeRozier and not Bats, so Bats will have 3, Harris with 4.
Yeah, surprising because he's still on the floor. And I was looking out there and I'm thinking, wait a second. Then I look at the stats, and that's a big break for Ed Cooley. And you would have gone probably 3-4 minutes without Bats in the game, and this is a critical part of the game.
Well, we saw Ed get that call earlier. Maybe he ran to the bench and said, hey, can you change that call?
Maybe. He's working the table over there. I heard working the refs, but he's working the table.
Cotton's been hounded all afternoon. Can't find an opening. Fortune's had the hot hand. Whistled before the shot. Let's go back and look at it now. DeRozier gets charged for the foul.
And just take a look where he is. He's over here.
Yeah. Wow. Maybe Ed is working the table. Davis just picked up his 3rd. D. Davis. Cotton still in single digits with 9. That splits the defense. Jalen Reynolds pulls down the rebound. Little back door. Cotton. I know he never gets tired, Donnie, but I've never seen him shoot this poorly here in the second half. But shots are tough to come by against the Xavier defense.
Yeah, their length, I think, is really being disruptive to what Cotton wants to do. And Christon, a scare there. He falls, gets up, he's walking around a little bit, but you got to give a lot of credit to Xavier and their defense. They really, you know, we talked about it in the first half. You know, when you are in the top 2 or 3 in the conference, field goal percentage, assists, rebound margin, the only thing that tells you if you're struggling is that you're not getting stops. Well, they really have made an adjustment, and their length is getting and has gotten to Providence, and especially Cotton.
Yeah, Max saying that first meeting back on January 25th, their defense was pathetic. It was very complimentary of guys like Hinton and Cotton, but he said the defense, we gave them hook shots, we gave them jump shots, we gave them free throws, whatever they wanted they got, because we were pathetic. 5:55 to go. 54-48. Xavier, they've won about 87% of their games in 14 years. They lead it by 6 right now. I'd have to go back and check. I'm not sure if he scored in single digits at all this year.
Cotton and Hinton right now combined for 20 points. They're 8 of 18. And that's a huge part of why they're down right now, but credit the Xavier defense.
They've done a nice job. Fortune's had the hot hand, and Chris Mack said, the top of the broadcast, we said yesterday in practice, make sure you let these guys know there's no free trips down the lane. And right now there's 5 on the shot clock again. DeRozier keeps it alive and gets the bucket.
DeRozier's one of those guys. He's your wild card. You know, Justin Martin is the X factor for Xavier. DeRozier's your wild card. You're not sure what you're going to get from him, but he has such great size in there that you have to throw him out there and hope something good happens like it did there.
Approaching the 5-minute mark, 4-point ball game. You're at home. Here's where poise is tested, huh? Seven on the shot clock now for the Musketeers. Down to 4. Martin says, I have to take it. Nice box out by DeRozier.
Yeah, good defense there by Providence, staying in front, getting those bigs off of the box. Yeah, no Stainbrook in the game. He's getting ready to check back in. Such a different look down low for Xavier when he's out. Fortune finds an open spot. Reynolds pulls down another rebound. Interesting, running a lot of stuff for Fortune. He's got the hot hand. Normally we see them running a ton of stuff for only Cotton. Right. Well, that's a great point. And you mentioned the Xavier defense. They're making sure that there's 2 guys on Cotton when he comes rolling off that screen. But Fortune has the opening. He's had the hot hand. He might as well take it. Right? 17.7 of 11. Doing a great job. 3 of 6 from downtown. And that one, when you got it going, even the ones off the glass are going in for you. But you have to credit Cotton. You know, keeping his head. Look at that. Good dish there. Found him in the corner earlier. You know, the willingness to not only score for your team, Bryce Cotton, we mentioned it, the leader in assists as well in this conference. And well, as much as Ed Cooley will tell us he's a great facilitator, Cotton, they need him to score the ball. Yeah. Fortune, incidentally, you saw the 17 on that graphic. His career high is 18. Now, over on that bench, Chris Dunn, the McDonald's All-American that had that shoulder injury, he's lost for the season. Ed Cooley was saying last night that if Dunn was on this team, he would take over the facilitating, and he said there's no doubt in his mind that Cotton would lead the nation in scoring. Well, it gives you a different look when you're Cotton, you're a scoring guard, and you have to do a couple of different things. You know, when you're coming off the ball, that means you're just there to score. You've got to run this team in so many ways at the point. There's another rejection by Providence, trying to crawl back in. Still 4 minutes to go, down by only 4. Getting that wild card, DeRozier, using that size.
Cotton gives it up. Baseline shot doesn't go. Kadeem Batts, the 6'9", 245-pounder, liking it out there on the perimeter so far.
It's just tough. You don't make that shot, you're not getting a look at a rebound. Xavier's going the other way.
Davis, little give and go. Stainbrook misses the shot.
Way to stand in there for DeRozan. Just stood his ground. Did not lean into the guy. Didn't put his hands in. Made Stainbrook try to draw the body and shoot over the top. Good D.
Ed Cooley calls the timeout with 3:12 to go. Friars led it at the break. They're 13-1 this year when leading at halftime. But Xavier buckling down defensively here in the second half. So Creighton Villanova picking up victories last night. Georgetown beating Butler earlier today. And so the battle right now is on with 3:12 to go in this game. Providence or Xavier, whoever wins it, anchor down, at least for the time being, the number 3 spot.
And it's interesting because those two teams, if you look at the preseason poll in the Big East, they were right there. You know, they were 4 and 5, 5 and 6, depending on when you looked at it. So it's interesting that the way that things have kind of shaken out. Marquette was picked to win the conference, and you know, they're having their struggles, obviously, but Creighton, you just can't say enough about them and the threat that they are. Not, you know, when people think about Creighton, they think about Doug McDermott, Greg McDermott, the coach. They have a great supporting cast.
Oh, yeah.
They have some athleticism. No one is afraid to shoot, and Greg McDermott will tell you, listen, we want to shoot as many threes, if not more, than twos.
Yeah, and Gibbs came back last night and he had 8 assists after missing 6 games, I think.
Yeah, they're 6-year senior, a veteran.
Cotton flips it up. Good stick back by Hinton. Chris Mack, that's exactly what he said yesterday in practice. Don't let them have easy stick backs. So Xavier, no field goals down the last 5 minutes, so they've hit a drought. Stainbrook. Tough to stop down there, but Providence does, and they have a chance to tie it. A 3 gives them the lead. You know, Donnie, we thought at the top of the broadcast this would be a close game, but I didn't think it'd be this close with Cotton with only 9 points.
Providence likes to play these close games. Again, Cotton, to fortune, just can't get it to go down. 8 of their games have been decided by 4 points or less. The Friars, and they're 5 and 3 in those games, so they know how to keep it close and close it out.
So Chris Mack, 3 trips to the big dance in his 4 years, now in his 5th season, and that is the goal. And he said if we don't play defense, we're going to reach our goals. Monday, the Big East basketball presented by New York Life Insurance Company returns. These Friars of Providence take on Georgetown. Coverage beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on Fox Sports 1. And Donnie Marshall will be there.
Tell you what,
on the call.
I don't want to brag, man, but I have it good. I got a good life. I'm watching Big East basketball at a great venue. Today I go Monday, watch Providence.
Well, last night you were doing an NBA game, right?
Yeah, that's right. Last night doing an NBA game. I mean, this is what it's all about. Now, I can't wait to see. It's awesome to be here watching Xavier, new Big East members. But to watch the old school Providence, Georgetown names grind it out on Monday is going to be terrific.
What do you get from this? Xavier has missed their last 8 shots. They're home holding on to a 2-point lead. Do they tighten up, or is that just something that's happened? I mean, you're not going to make every shot, of course. But
And Cooley's called a couple of timeouts and really getting his guys, you know, dialed in. They went to a zone. They're still in that zone, and it seems to have affected Xavier and what they're trying to do.
It was 54-48 with 8:16 to go. Right now it's 1:56 to go, 54-52.
Love the look. They start in a 2-3 zone. They come out of it on the first pass, and now they're still in a little 3-2 zone. This can't happen, though. Christon getting himself to the basket.
There's a scramble, and it's last touched by Martin. Martin said Cotton touched it. Wally Rotecki says no, it's going to be Providence basketball. Minute 42 to go. You're watching Fox Sports 1, your exclusive home for the entire Big East tournament. All right, right, thanks a lot, Rob. Right now, Donnie, let's check our DirecTV game summary. You'll see Stainbrook, you can add on 5 assists with those numbers, but Fortune's had the hot hand. Cotton's still looking to get into double figures.
Yeah, and Cotton has drawn a lot of attention, but Xavier has accepted that challenge and said, we're going to make it tough on you, Mr. Cotton. Someone else is going to have to beat us, and Fortune has done his best at helping that. This is an interesting time with 1:42 to play. This is when possessions are so very important, especially for Providence on the road.
Cotton with the ball, 1 for 5, 2 points here in the second half. Chris Mack recently saying that there's a big difference from playing hard and playing together defensively. The X-Men playing together, keeping this young man away from the bucket. There's going to be a block. It's going to go against Stainbrook.
Chris Mack does not like it, but this is how basketball is today. Take a look. Stainbrook does a pretty good job getting back down. You know, it's always a question. Feet are set. You square. I know the left foot is still moving a little bit, but that's a tough call. And it still is a call that confuses me. No matter how many games I see, which way that call's going.
I don't think you're alone. I think the officials have tried hard to adjust to that.
Yeah.
When the season started, sometimes the guy would be way outside the arc, and they were still getting the blocking. They almost got rid of the charge, but they brought it back a little bit into the game now. Hinton with 12 points. Missed the second.
We mentioned it earlier, best free throw shooting team you've seen this season anywhere, and that's a big miss for Hinton.
People on their feet now as we move towards the final minute of this game, at least regulation. Christon. There's the block, and Christon's going to the line. Looked frustrated. He thought he had the three-point play, just kind of popped out.
And right back at you. Getting a guy that is working on that jump shot. I don't think we've seen him take one in this game. All of them have been going towards the basket, but it's been effective. Earns himself a chance to make 2 at the line.
Well, that was Batts picking up the foul, so he has 4 now. Harris with 4, getting ready to check back in for Providence. Christon knocks down the free throw. Shot 85% last week from the line. He's got 12. Only 3 for 8, though, Donnie. I mean, I've seen games against Marquette this year. He was 8 of 10, finished with 28 points. 9 of 12 against DePaul, 27 points. Just 3 of 8 from the floor. But, of course, unlike last year, he gets a little help from his friends on the offensive end this season. 55 seconds to go, 55-53. Christon picks his pocket. Christon takes it the distance, gives it up, and Fillmore's there for the jam.
Critical turnover there by Cotton. Semaj Christon's length proved again to be disruptive to Bryce Cotton. You got to give Chris Mack all the credit in the world, saying my superstar is not just going to do it on offense. He's going to guard their best player. And that's what you saw right there by Semaj Christon.
That is a great point, because he said in the first game where he had Cotton had 25 points, 7 assists, he said he just ran D. Davis ragged. And Christon, as you pointed out, the length, his long arms, giving Cotton some problems.
And just take a look at this. This is our Land Rover player of the game. There you go. Semaj Christon. Woo. The length, the hands, and look at this. He doesn't force it. He sees another black uniform coming, lays it off to a teammate running in Fillmore.
So Christon, 3 assists now. See, getting most of those points from the line, 6 of 8. It really has done a great job improving his free throw shooting. And it's 57-53, still 43 seconds to go. That's plenty of time. And again, we go back to earlier in the season. Xavier came back from the Bahamas on a 3-game skid. They turned around, won 8 straight. And now they're trying to snap a 3-game skid here, and they play 4 of the next 5 on the road.
Plenty of time here for Providence. You don't have to force anything. You go down, make this a 2-point game.
Some of those great UConn teams you played on, you probably loved playing on the road, didn't you?
Yeah, we loved it, but when you're on the road, Mike Gleason, you got to take care of the basketball. That's one thing the better teams do. You have to value your possessions the entire game, but especially within the last 2 minutes as the road team.
That's the first time I've seen Bryce Cotton look frustrated and show it. He almost threw it away, and he had a look on his face like, let's get it together, guys.
And then now it's just to get it in and make your free throws for Xavier.
32 seconds to go. The foul went against Hinton. Now they're going to have to start putting the Xavier on the line, and it's going to be Martin, a 70% shooter. So Batts picks up his 5th. He's out with 27.6 in a 4-point ball game.
And this is a tough one for Ed Cooley's bunch. You know it doesn't get any easier, especially Bryce Cotton. Really the length, throwing the ball to the front row there. Leaving it short, trying to shoot up over the length of Xavier's defenders. You know, finding his teammates really was the remedy, but just not enough of Cotton with the basketball. Or maybe you could say too much length from Xavier's defense. And like I mentioned, it doesn't get easier. You go still on the road. You got to go to Georgetown and play Monday. Got a day to kind of fix what was damaged in this game.
Boy, Chris Mack has to be happy with these numbers. Xavier just 1 turnover in the second half. Friars with 6. Martin, he's got 12 in the ball game. First meeting January 25th at Providence. Martin with 19.7 rebounds before fouling out. That gives him 13. More importantly, it gives his team a 59-53 lead. You know the old saying, you don't swing for the fences, you get it back 1 bucket at a time. You don't shoot for the 3. You play fundamental basketball, get it 2 points at a time. But a little less than 28 seconds to go. I guess the 3-point shots.
Hey, that's what it is. You got to get a 3. Hope you get fouled. If not, you make it. Either way, you got to foul quickly.
And as far as shooting the 3, Fortune's 3 for 7. Hinton's 2 for 4. Cotton's 1 for 2. They're 6 of 17. So Cotton's being harassed and hounded. Who takes it? Hinton or Fortune, or do you put the ball in Cotton's hands?
Well, I don't think you have a choice. I really think whoever has the ball, which will be Cotton, he's got to come down and create something. We've seen them so many times this season. If you've watched Providence, you know that they set a lot of screens. Today, they really didn't do that for Cotton. He really had to earn a lot of what he got, and that wasn't a lot. So with this last play, though, he has to come down and get something quick. And maybe a little back screen. They call it a hat screen from behind, but something to get him open as quick as possible.
And I think a lot of times when they did set a screen, Xavier did a good job of having somebody there waiting for him as he rolled off that screen. So Cotton averaging just under 24 in conference play. His season low was 6. Way back in the second game of the season against Brown. He's got 9, but he's coming off a 32-point performance against St. John's. Final 25 seconds right now. Harris, a line drive. Shot the error ball. And
tough shot for Harris. You know, he's been on the bench for a lot of this second half. And then you come in and you expect him to have to knock down a three. That's just a tough, tough position to be in. Well, he's 0 for 4 on the day from there.
So Stainbrook missed the free throw. 15 seconds to go. Cotton again trying to make something go. Hinton takes it. A little too strong, and Fillmore pulls down the rebound. That's going to do it. So the three-game skid is over for the Musketeers of Xavier as they win it 59-53. Bryce Cotton, averaging just under 24 in conference play, finishes with 9 points. And for Xavier now, next up at Butler, then at Marquette. For Donnie Marshall, Mike Gleason saying so long. Let's go back to the LA studio with Rob Stone. Rob?